Good morning, everyone. I am Professor Wyatt, and I'll be teaching you our online speech course for the next few months. And I just wanted to make a quick video for you so we can set some ground rules for how we proceed forward in the best possible way with this online version of speech class. The first thing I want to say is that I like to give you complete freedom over the topics that you choose to talk about. And it's a very important consideration because the closer you are to a topic, the more that it's in your heart, the more you're able to speak from your heart and not have to rely on a lot of notes and pre-written sentences, which always is a bad idea. I want to teach you how to speak from your heart, but to also be intelligent and bring good information. And so keep this in mind as you choose your topics. You know, if it's in your heart, it's already in your head. And if it's in your heart, you have a foundation of information to fall back on, whether it be experience, opinion, or simply a base of knowledge. Always choose your topics carefully. I give you that freedom. So I want to get that clear from the start, that the topics are up to you. The progression as we go through the class will always be the same. The speeches tend to get more complicated as we go on, as we bring in different elements. That's fine. But I want you to know that the process is always the same for a speech. I will give you 5-minute tutorials that you can watch, and I'll post those in the announcements tab. And those tutorials will really explain the speech and what we're trying to accomplish. Usually it centers around the introductions and the conclusions, how to shape the body, and a general overall tone that you can bring to the talk. And so those tutorials will always be there for you. After the tutorials, the first thing we'll do is work on your outline. And your outline, for me, doesn't have to be real complex. I just want to see what direction you're going and make sure that you are including all the required elements in the speech and that your thought process has begun. And those outlines will always be due and have to be turned in before you can do the speech. When you give me the speech itself, I will then watch it and grade it and give you detailed feedback. I mean, feedback like this long on what I saw. And what's important with me anyway, what I do is I spend as much time talking about what you do right as to where I see we can improve. Because I say this a lot, all we do is build here. So give me what you got and realize that some of you may be better right now at compiling information and getting all the complexities. Some of you may be better right now at speaking free and just being yourself, but you may not be bringing the complexity and the depth of conversation that we want. So you should know that all of you will do something good, and all of you will have areas that we need to focus on in order to improve, and I'll point those out to you. As far as the time limits go, many people want to know, what's the time limit? What's the time limit? And I will always give a time limit that is the basement. If you want to live in the basement, you're free to live in the basement with no charge. So if I say, you know, the time minimum for this one is 8 minutes, don't give me 5 minutes, because now you're under the basement. But many of you will find out that if you can buy into this concept of really talking about things that matter to you and then letting your mind lead and not your eyes, and what I mean by that is if all you do is read off your note cards, when the words on your card are done, so are you. But if you use your mind and just are close enough to your topic that you can talk, many of you will begin the process of going for 10, 12, 15, 20 minutes. And I love that. I really love that, because if you can speak for 20 minutes on a topic, that means that you were close to the topic and you had some good ideas to bring for me. So the time limits are always a minimum. It's not something to shoot for. It's not something to say, okay, let me just get to 7 minutes and stop. I like depth. I like to see you really bring depth. And if you can just trust yourself to speak to your topics and have some structure, you'll find that the time flies by fairly quickly. And you'll be up in the 10, 12, 15-minute range with no issues at all. As far as notes like this, okay, here's my notes for this. And if you think of your note card as just a roadmap, okay? It's not a step-by-step, word-for-word, written out long sentences. This is just a roadmap. It says, drive down this street, and then turn and go down this street. And when you're as far down this street as possible, drive down the next street. And if you do that, if you think of your note cards as just a roadmap, so that you know you're on the right street, drive down until there's no more room, and then look down and make your turn into the next point. That's when it's best. When it's worst for me is when I can tell you are reading. And because I've seen about 1,000 speeches online, I can usually tell when you're reading. And the giveaway is in a couple different things. Of course, this will indicate that you probably have something up there that you're reading. Try to spend time with me, face forward, speaking. And of course, when you read, your voice tends to get very fast and very flat, and all the sentences tend to sound the same. And that's not what we want. I want you to think about an arc of emotions that can be in every speech. You can be happy, sad, you can be angry, you can frighten me, you can make me feel secure, all within the confines of the same speech. And your voice will convey that naturally if you decide to speak naturally. When you make that decision to read, everything is like this, you know. When you go into an emergency room, and if your heart meter is like this, you're dead. Your voice should have a heartbeat. It should move up and down and reflect the emotion of the moment. And these are the things that I'll point out to you. I know that some teachers require you to gather an audience together because it's public speaking. I don't do that because I think you'll have more anxiety and you'll spend more time trying to round up 5 people at the exact moment when you're ready to talk. And I'd rather have you exert that energy into your talk. So just like I'm talking to you now is how you can talk to me. Avoid whispering. A lot of people get the bedroom whisper where they don't want their parents in the next room to hear them. And so they give their speech like this. And they talk in very hushed tones. And even though I can hear them, when you're talking like this, your voice is not a factor. And your voice has to be a factor. Okay? It's not only what you say, it's how you say it. So you have to speak as if you're in a room. You know, pretend your grandpa is 20 feet away. He wants to hear you. So project your voice always when you give me a speech. We will have some speeches with outlines. We will have other speeches that are just vocal exercises with no outline. The vocal exercises are designed to do what I was just talking about, to get your voice more active and to reflect emotionally what you want to say. Okay? So that'll be clear as I post the assignments for you. Pay attention to your due dates. Don't be late with stuff. Okay? That's throwing points away, and that's not something that you're going to be happy about when we get to the end. So pay attention to the due dates, hit your due dates. I know that things are due at 11:59 and that some of you will be 11:59ers, but I see this all the time. All of a sudden I get a panic message. Professor, my speech isn't uploading and it's 11:59. What do I do? Well, you know, try to do things in advance a little bit. Get your mind together, and then when you get ready to do your speech, try it in one take, just as if you were in a classroom. You know, if we were in class, I couldn't call you up and have you do 30 seconds and then you go, can I start again? If you just hit the button and make the commitment to go, you'll feel a little bit of that juice, that really good nervous energy to say, this is it, and don't stop. I have no problem with people going, just a second. Oh yeah, here's where I was. I have no problem with that, okay? If any of you feel like you need a Zoom session with me to clarify anything or to talk about any concerns you have, I am more than willing to set up a Zoom with you, okay? So that is my message to you as we start the class. Most of my tutorials are 5-minute tutorials. This one went a bit long because I had more to say, but I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Have a good one.